Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Porter County Perspective. I'm your host, WDSO's Emily Fletcher, and this week we have the privilege of speaking to Mari Patis in our studio. Mari is the programs coordinator of the Shirley Heinze Land Trust. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Mari, can you introduce yourself and tell listeners a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so as Emily said, I'm the programs coordinator at Shirley Heinze Land Trust. So that involves a lot of hike planning and leading guided tours of our nature preserves and just getting people out into our properties and engaging with the community.
Great. Did you always want to go into something with the environment?
Yeah, I flip-flop between different career ideas. But in college, I kind of realized that the environment was my passion. And I grew up, doing cross-country and being outside a lot. And so it just kind of made sense. I actually grew up in the Seattle area and then moved to the Indiana area for an internship with the National Park Service and just got really involved with the volunteer community and learned about the native plants and the ecology. And then I heard about this programs coordinator position with Shirley Heinze, and I was able to bring everything I learned from there into this new position. And I've actually been here for about a year and a half.
Okay, cool. Before we go more in depth, can you tell us what the Shirley Heinze Land Trust is?
Yes, so we're a local environmental nonprofit, and as a land trust, we preserve and restore land all across northwestern Indiana. We're part of the larger land trust community, so there's a Land Trust Alliance that does accreditation, and so we are accredited through that organization. And I know we'll talk about this later, but we have a pretty large reach with about 20 nature preserves that are open to the public, so we hope people will come out and hike with us.
Can you tell us a little bit about who the land trust was named for?
Yes. So Shirley Heinze was actually a doctor, and she was a psychologist for young children, and she was just really good at being empathetic and listening to their needs. And she grew up in Ogden Dunes and spent a lot of time there and just grew to love the local ecology. And she passed away at a young age, and so her friends Robert and Lou Betts Seidner created this endowment fund in the 80s in her honor, and ever since then we've grown into this kind of larger nonprofit.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit more about the history of the Shirley Heinze Land Trust?
Yeah, so as we were saying before, this endowment fund was created. We actually started in 1981, so we've been around for over 40 years now. And we just started as a volunteer base. And as we became an official nonprofit, we started getting staff members. We started increasing our, acreage. We started having strategic plans. And so now we're this more robust organization that has set out these goals to acquire land in certain areas, and now we still have volunteers and a really good group of staff.
Cool. Okay. What are the three main goals of the Shirley Heinze Land Trust, and can you break those down to what they mean to the trust?
Yes. So as part of our mission, we preserve land. And so that's the land acquisition side of things. So, anything that from wetlands that are in danger of being destroyed due to development, or just anything that's kind of in our project areas, we prioritize, the land trust part of our name and work hard to make sure those are protected forever. And then once we actually acquire those lands, we will restore them. So that's where our stewardship team comes into play, and they will do both the removing of invasive species and then replacing those with native plants, and then just maintaining those lands, in the future. And then the third part, so we preserve, restore, and then we engage with the community. And so we want people to come out and hike with us. We want nature to be accessible for everyone. So we're doing a lot of capital improvements to be able to host more people, have accessible trails, and then just have kind of all ages friendly events where people can come out and learn more about the history of the area, and maybe meet other community members that also like being out in nature.
Across what counties has the Land Trust preserved land, and do you have any idea of the approximate acreage that is protected?
Yes. And to give an idea of how much we've grown, when I started back in August of 2021, we had a 4-county range, but since then we have a 6-county range which extends from Lake, Porter, LaPorte, St. Joseph County, and then most recently Stark and Marshall County, especially as we expand our agricultural land protection program as well. And acreage-wise, we're at about 3,000 acres, so we're growing every day.
What types of natural habitats are present within the land trust?
So a wide variety. So kind of starting from west to east, there's dune and swale and black oak savanna habitat in the kind of Gary and Miller area. And as you work your way east, there's the Valparaiso Moraine. So that's where our main office at Meadowbrook Nature Preserve is. And so that's going to have a lot of different range of topography and glacial deposits. We also have prairie out in Crestmore. We have a bog out in Leidig Bog, and so that's one of the few true bogs of Indiana, and you're going to find lots of cool, rare plants there. And yeah, a whole variety of habitats, so.
What makes the black oak savanna a savanna?
That's a great question. So on one end, you have like prairies that have very little tree coverage, and on the other end, you have forests that are just mostly trees. In between there is oak savanna, and so it's going to be a mix of open lands with some trees interspersed, and so that's going to give you a unique ecology because there's going to be partial shade in some areas, but also plants that need a little bit more sunlight, so it's very specific to this area. And specifically with oaks, they require burns, controlled burns every once in a while to help maintain that intermediate canopy cover.
Yeah, I always knew that our area was really special because that's a rare ecology habitat, but I never really actually knew what it meant, so thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any particularly cool species of plants or animals living within these preserved lands?
Yeah, so I mentioned Leidig Bog earlier, and with a true bog, it's going to have more acidic conditions, so you're going to find carnivorous plants such as the pitcher plant and roundleaf sundew, also things like tamarack and poison sumac. People think poison sumac's bad, but it's actually a good indicator of a healthy habitat. So really cool plants out there. And then in general, because we cover such a wide variety of habitats, we'll have things like beavers, opossums. We have a lot of good birding habitat. So Leidig Bog is another good birding place because it's so biodiverse. But we also have Seidner Dune and Swale, which is located at the mouth of the Grand Calumet River. And there's all kinds of like waterfowl, egrets and herons and really amazing birds out there.
Can you go kayaking or canoeing on the land trust?
At Seidner, you can't, but we do conserve a portion that's kind of in the Chesterton area, and there's actually kayak launches along there. And so, yeah, we encourage people to go out and kayak there in partnership with the Northwest Indiana Paddling Association and the National Park Service, as well as like our volunteer and staff efforts. We've been able to clear out a lot of the log jams that have been, kind of blocking the ability to even kayak through there. And so now you're able to just kind of go seamlessly, and it's really beautiful, especially in like the late summer, early fall when it's nice and warm and the colors are changing. It's gorgeous out there.
Great. You said that the areas were open to the public to explore, but how can one go about visiting these preserves?
Yeah, so they are open to the public and there's no entry to get in, which is great. They're generally open from dawn till dusk. And all the information is on our website. It's got the location and kind of the special features of each preserve. And we're also searchable on like Google Maps and things like that.
Could you tell us more about the host guided hikes so that those interested can learn more about the land and its species from experts?
Yes. So we do a lot of guided hikes and programs, and sometimes led by myself, also through our stewardship staff and sometimes volunteers and kind of outside subject matter experts. And all of these are on our website. We try to update that as much as possible. And there are programs every month. And so we're kind of prioritizing Meadowbrook Nature Preserve and Leidig Bog. And again, they're all on our website and our Facebook. And there's a whole variety of events. So go check it out.
What are some of your favorite areas of the Land Trust to visit, and can you tell us why?
I really like Crestmore Prairie. I'm actually very much a mountain girl, having grown up, in Washington State, but I really love prairies ever since moving here because, one, they used to expand across, billions of acres in the Midwest. And people think, the Midwest is flat and boring. But if you imagine if it was all prairie, this whole rainbow of wildflowers, you start to change your perspective. The fact that we have a black soil prairie at Crestmore is also really special because that's a especially rare type of prairie. And if you go there in August, it's going to be a whole slew of colors. And I think they're also important for, like the birds and the pollinators that are using that for food and habitat.
Where is Crestmore Prairie?
That is in Hobart.
Oh,
and
okay.
so there's a whole Hobart Marsh Conservation Area, so you can hit up a few of our nature preserves in one day over there.
Awesome. For those who want to get involved, are there any volunteer positions or volunteer opportunities available currently?
Yes, so we offer volunteer opportunities on a regular basis as well. Meadowbrook Mondays are every first and third Monday at our main office at Meadowbrook. We also will post various volunteer opportunities here and there. Right now in May is garlic mustard season, so there's a lot of garlic mustard pulls. We're having one at Leidig Bog next Thursday. And we also have some cool internship opportunities. We actually have some Chesterton High School students that are currently interning with us and have been doing some water quality monitoring and data collection and working with our project manager to do some really cool kind of more research-based opportunities.
That's awesome. Besides the garlic mustard, can you think of any invasive species that are particularly harmful to the area that we should be on the lookout for?
Yes. So bittersweet vines will wrap around trees and literally choke them out. So we'll try to cut those back. There's Asian honeysuckle. There's autumn olive. Black locust can get really aggressive and take over. So there's a whole bunch of invasive species, which means we need a whole bunch of volunteers to help us get rid of those.
Could you tell us where people can go to look for the Shirley Heinze Land Trust's online presence?
Yes. So our main website is heinzetrust.org. That's HEINZE trust.org. So we're like the ketchup, but with the E at the end. We also have a pretty good social media presence. It's a good outlet for all my really bad dad jokes and puns. So, but yeah, we post all of our events and we'll post, like a fun, post-hike selfie or maybe post fun facts about nature that are seasonally related. And so we're on Facebook, Instagram, a little bit of TikTok, a little bit of Twitter, and a little bit of YouTube.
Cool. How does Shirley Heinze Land Trust go about acquiring land to preserve?
Yes, so there's a variety of different ways. Sometimes it's just someone calling because they saw a property for sale and they're like, they want us to know about it before developers do. So we really appreciate that. And I encourage you to keep your eyes out for land that you want to see protected. Sometimes it's just tax sales and we'll just go in and try to outcompete anyone else that's trying to buy it. We also have a legacy circle program. And so people will write that into their estate plans saying that they want their land to eventually be incorporated into our land trust. So it's a variety of different ways. We also work in partnership with other land organizations so that we can conserve as much land as possible.
You had mentioned before about the agricultural
land program. Yeah. So that's a new program. And we're working with local farmers to both establish sustainable agricultural practices as well as see if we can incorporate some kind of land preservation in their plans as well.
And then if someone was interested in this, you could find that information online?
Yeah, so there's a whole, I believe it's heinzetrust.org/farms, and there's more information on there, and you're always welcome to email or call our office for more information.
What would you say that some of the goals the Land Trust has on the horizon for the near future?
I think one of our biggest goals is going back to the engagement part of our mission and, increasing programs, making nature more friendly for people. There's some people that have maybe never been, on a hike before or, maybe are new to the Land Trust and we want to be as welcoming as possible. So one of the ways we're doing this is through Nature and the Arts. It's one of our newer programs, and we're partnering with local art organizations and other, nonprofits and partners that can help bring these new audiences to our preserves. And they're able to create an arts and craft project that relates to the local ecosystem, maybe represents a cool plant or animal, and then they can make that and then take it home and hopefully remember, the fun time that they had.
Great. Every year, the Land Trust awards citizens and businesses with the Bringing Nature Home Award. Can you tell us about this award and how and why it is awarded?
The Bringing Nature Home Award opens up every year in the spring through the summer, and it encourages people to apply with like photos of their native plant garden and a whole list of the native plants that they have. And we recognize those individuals and businesses that have taken the time to establish a native plant garden, which ultimately supports the native wildlife here, as well as just kind of makes neighborhoods more beautiful. I think if we can eventually replace lawns with native gardens, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And so as part of that recognition, we'll go and do a little home visit afterwards, and they get this cool sign that they could put in their yard to kind of show off to their neighbors how great their garden is.
I saw it. It was cute. It was a cute award.
Yeah.
Coming up soon is the Shirley Heinze Land Trust Spring Benefit. Can you give us some information about that and what attendees can look forward to?
So our annual Spring Benefit is our largest fundraising effort for the year, so it's very important to us. And this year's theme is growing a community of stewards. And at this event, there will be kind of statements and videos and comments from the community about how we are growing a community of stewards. So highlighting again that Bringing Nature Home program, the growth of our programs, as well as the hard work of our stewardship staff. And so there'll be food, entertainment, a live auction. So it's going to be a great time, and it'll be at the William Urschel Pavilion in downtown Valparaiso. So it'll be a nice little outdoor event, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone.
Can you think of anything that's going to be part of the auction that's like a hot item?
Yes. So some of the things includes a kayak paddle on the aforementioned Little Calumet River. There's going to be an exclusive guided hike by our renowned staff ecologist, Doug Baca. So people are always wanting to get hikes with him. So this is kind of going to be a special hike where he could talk about all the plants. We're also going to have like a special sort of like dinner picnic experience at either Meadowbrook or Leidig Bog. And another really cool thing is the behind-the-scenes tour of the Field Museum.
I have always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I have always wanted to do that.
Yeah, and it's such a huge place. I went there a while ago, and I always forget like how massive it is and all the cool exhibits they have. So if you're able to get that, that would be really cool.
What you see is only like such a small fraction of what they actually have.
Yes. I actually learned recently that their new logo design is like, it says field with a little period at the end. That represents that they only have 10% of their collection out on display.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the coolest. Can you repeat where, when, and the cost of purchasing tickets and how they get them?
Yes. So again, the event will be at the Urschel Pavilion in downtown Valparaiso. This is May 20th of this year on a Saturday, starting at 5:30 Central Time. The tickets can be purchased at heinzetrust.org on our main page. Again, that's HEINZE trust.org. The tickets are $150 each and include the meal ticket and the entertainment. And we only have about a week until May 12th to sell tickets, so get them soon before they're all sold out.
Before we wrap up, can you think of anyone else besides Shirley Heinze that deserves a special shout out or thank you for the work they've done for Shirley Heinze Land Trust?
I'll give a general shout out to, other conservation partners. Again, we work with people like the National Park Service, Save the Dunes, the Nature Conservancy, Indiana DNR. All of those groups are all working towards the same goal of preserving the land and making sure that we have nature available for everyone to enjoy. We've also been working on our Activating Green Spaces program, which again is increasing, access and awareness of nature to maybe groups that don't have that same access as other neighborhoods. And so we were working with local community partners in like the Gary area, such as Brown Faces Green Spaces, working with the Gary schools, the Urban League. So those partnerships, individually have been really great in reaching those new audiences because they can bring a perspective that, we need education in.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention about the event or about the Shirley Heinze Land Trust in general?
So as a reminder for the Nature and the Arts program, those will be happening starting July 22nd at our new St. Francis Nature Preserve out in Michigan City, which is also in partnership with the Franciscan Health Michigan City Hospital. And that's been a really great partnership to highlight the health benefits of spending time out in nature. And then we'll have Nature and the Arts events kind of every month after that on Saturdays. And the information will be online on our Nature and the Arts webpage, again, on our website.
Cool. Then that's going to wrap things up for this week's edition of Porter County Perspective. I'd like to thank my guest, Mari Patis, again from the Shirley Heinze Land Trust for joining us. This has been Emily Fletcher for WDSO signing off.